Happiest of Tuesday evenings, everyone. Welcome, Buckeye Scoop family, already in the chat, cooking per usual. Hope all is well with you, Buckeye Nation. Listen, do me a favor, hit that like button, like. If you have not subscribed, please click that subscribe button, hit the bell notification so that you get notifications when we go live. Also, remember for the people who don't always do YouTube, Apple Podcasts for the Apple folks, save us there, download us there, and Spreaker.com. Same thing there. That's where I go because I'm not an Apple person. So, just a reminder also, we're going to be talking about the massive Michigan staff shakeup, some things going on. Remember, there's an ongoing investigation right now. We're going to talk about that as well. Dev will be going after us. Make sure you guys slide over to Dev. He'll be going live after the show tonight. This is my short night. This is my coaching night Tuesday nights. So hard stop around 7:45. If you have super chats, get them in as soon as you can so we can jump on them. And remember, regarding the super chats, helps to go towards the pay it forward, which is our military and our first responders. We're going to look out for them because they always look out for us. Nevada Buck, happy Tuesday, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Crazy stuff going on up in Michigan land. You know,
Yep.
some big staff upheavals. Like you just kind of wonder, like they're talking about like a return to normalcy, a return to stability, things like that, and then they go off and fire Shawn McGee. Now, for people that don't know who Shawn McGee is, that's their Mark Pantoni. That's their
Right.
GM of football. So imagine this story if Ohio State just came in and fired Mark Pantoni and staff. It would be a big deal. We would be like, oh my goodness, what happened to cause this to transpire? So Michigan, and over the past few years, has lost their head coach twice, um, literally their strength and conditioning coach, all of their assistants, and now their GM slash director of football operations slash Mark Pantoni type of person. Um, and what I'm hearing, and I've heard this from a number of people, is that kind of the breaking point on the whole thing was over Bryce Underwood, was over the evaluation of Bryce Underwood and the willingness of them to not only stretch their financial coffers and strain their relationship with their best NIL donor, but to put their team in the hands of a guy that there seems to be a real controversy over whether it was the right decision. And I think that was kind of the breaking point and kind of the reason that Shawn McGee kind of had to walk the plank, was Bryce Underwood. So the Bryce Underwood experience has had another casualty. In this case, it's the GM of Michigan football and Shawn McGee.
Interesting. I mean, that makes sense. Your boy Portnoy went on record weeks ago saying no more dough for me, for Bryce, underwhelming. So that makes sense. But yeah, I'm glad you explained this of the significance of this firing because Michigan media, they don't really report anything seriously that's a negative towards them. So I think a lot of fans didn't understand the significance of who this is and what it was about. The Mark Pantoni is exactly right. Just imagine if Pantoni and the whole staff under him got canned. Like that would be on ESPN. I mentioned the other stuff, the hot box stuff. If it was Ohio State, that would be on ESPN. Now, let me stop there. Do you think I'm exaggerating? If Mark Pantoni and his staff were parted ways, aka you're fired, do you think this will be all over the news more so than this story, Nevada?
Well, it'd be a major story for sure, and I think it'd be one of the biggest stories in college football, and for Michigan, you're right. I mean, Michigan, the one thing that they do well is that they've got their media in lockstep, where
Yeah.
those guys just they follow the party lines and they just march right to it. And if they're told something's a big story, they say it's a big story. If they say something's a small story, they say it's a small story. And you're even hearing other insiders, like insiders and people leaving the inside information business from Michigan, talking
Yeah.
about how crazy it is. And I just think this is just another example. Like I said, this is their Mark Pantoni being told to walk the plank with his entire staff. Um, does that sound like a program headed in the right direction to you? Does that sound like, hey, they're happy with how things are going up there. They're happy with their roster. They're happy with their recruiting. They're happy with their transfer portal, addition. They're happy with their roster construct. No, it doesn't, because you can say all you want about, well, Kyle Whittingham's put in his mark. Kyle Whittingham is a placeholder. He's not there for the long term,
Yeah.
dude. I mean, he's an old guy who was literally riding off into the sunset on his motorcycle to retire from Utah and got lured back into this Michigan thing. But he's not the long term answer. He's not the guy in terms of, well, I'm going to set the trajectory for the next 20 years here at Michigan. So yeah, it's a very, very odd situation. You could just, again, you don't have to be a Michigan hater or anybody, just to kind of look at it just objectively and kind of go, do they generally, can the entire football development staff, whatever you want to call it, general managers, when they're happy with things or when they're unhappy? I would
Right.
submit it's when they're unhappy. And, as a Michigan fan, this is just another sign. If there haven't been 50 of them already, this is just another sign of how bad things are going up in Ann Arbor right now.
Yep. And remember, not too long ago, I showed this on the podcast. This is from a Michigan insider, and shout out to Intrinsic for posting this. But basically, it was talking about the holdovers, and some of the athletic department are still waiting for final say on the investigation, which has gone much longer than anticipated. Then it says there will be more casualties from this, including some you might not expect. One predicted, one long time on and off employee interview gave it to the investigators straight. So that's why we're asking the question: is this one of the casualties, Nevada? Is this one of the casualties? The Michigan media, they're being very coy about this, as far as revealing that, kind of dancing around it. But this was just posted, less than a week ago. And now here we go. So, Nevada, what's your thoughts on that connection?
Well, I think the athletic department investigation, which will result in Ward Manuel being fired. And you can clip this and hold me to it and date stamp it. And because we've been saying this for a while, this is the process that they're going through to remove Jabba the Ward from Michigan athletics so they can get out from underneath that one, his hefty body, as well as that hefty contract that they have right there. But I just think with McGee, I don't know if there is a nexus or a connection on that. I think it's really a simple recognition of what something that I've been saying for a very long time, of they're just not very good up there. And when you're not very good, you look at their talent. You and I've had this conversation before, B, where I've said to you, okay, B, you're king for a day. You can take any player from the Michigan roster, any player, and put them on Ohio State. Who you got? Who you picking? And you're gonna have a hard time coming up with anybody.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
would have said the kicker before that, but now I think we got a pretty good one. So
Yeah,
go
yeah.
on that.
I was going to say, what I'm saying, so it's like, I mean, the guys that we'd be talking about would be unproven high school players because they haven't had a chance to suck yet in college. So they'd be like
Right.
a Carter Meadows or a Savion Hyder or something. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? But
Right.
but in terms of established players, like there's not one. There's not a single player on the roster that I'd want on our team. That's not good. That's not good. And when in the age of the transfer portal and immediate eligibility and the ability to immediately upgrade your roster, the fact that they don't have a single player that we'd want on our team, how are they supposed to compete with Ohio State when that's the standard up there at Michigan? And that's the standard that Whittingham's being brought into. You got to beat Ohio State, who is generally recognized as the best program in all of college football right now. I think Josh Pate just said that.
Yep.
Joel Klatt said that. I mean, we all know it. I mean, Ohio State is operating at the absolute peak right now, and you're Michigan, and your job is to beat them. And Kyle's got to come. He's got to beat Ohio State, and not only beat Ohio State, he's got to beat Ohio State in Columbus next year.
Right.
Now we saw Sharon. I'll kill myself with a butter knife. Actually, pull off that feat and do it. So we'll never say never about it. But it's a tall order. It's a tall order to beat Ohio State, and to do it with this roster. I think they're just looking at it, and somebody, they already fired, they already got rid of Sharon. They've already gutted half the staff. So somebody's had to go for this Underwood debacle. I mean, Underwood has been an unmitigated disaster for them. He's a cancer in that team. He is not a leader. This is the same guy who was mugging and taking selfies down 18 points at
Yep.
USC. He
Yep.
doesn't care about winning. He doesn't care about the team. This is the guy that's your leader. That's your team leader for the Michigan football right now. And McGee is the guy that orchestrated that whole thing. After this guy blasted you for years when he was going to LSU, he goofed all over Michigan, and then you throw the bag, you throw $12 million at him, and now all of a sudden he's your leader. Somebody had to pay for that, and I think McGee's the guy that because when Larry Ellison is going, what you came to me and this is what you wanted my $12 million for. This is what it was all about. I think somebody had to answer for that, and I think McGee had to walk the plank.
Yep. Now, do you think he's the first? And basically, well, listen, ultimately, Ward Manuel is going to walk the plank as well. I guess my question, I kind of stopped myself in the middle of my question because I was going to say, is that going to be in collaboration with Ward Manuel because he has, partly blame in it as well. But Ward Manuel's going down for a whole list of sins, not just that. That's probably the least of things. So I kind of answer my own question about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ward Manuel's going to go down, like you said. There's a list of 50 things. I mean, it's the most scandal-ridden program, uh, certainly in my adult lifetime. I mean, you'd have to go back to like 70s Oklahoma or what, yeah, I'm not sure even SMU in their heyday was as bad as Michigan is. I mean, Michigan, it's been at least SMU, they localized it to the football program. I mean, with Michigan, it's the basketball program, it's the hockey program, it's men's sports, it's women's sports. It goes across regimes. It's been going on ever since Ward Manuel's got there, and it's just and clearly it's not getting any better. So no, I think Ward holds a special, whatever award they give for the guy, the most corrupt AD of all time, that should be now changed to the lifetime to the Ward Manuel Award for corruption in athletics sports or something like that.
Yeah, and his name already has award. Here's the award for the. It's hard not to give you an award for. Anyway, that was just too tempting. But yes. He and speaking of that, not to get off track completely, and I'm gonna read this screenshot in a second because I think it's significant. But literally any day now, any minute now, our guy, our brother, our super friend Justin Spiro will be releasing a massive story on the team up north, his research, everything he's been working on. So we're looking forward to that, Nevada. Anything on that real quick before I hop into this intrinsic screenshot?
Well, I don't know what it's exactly about, so I don't want to overstate or whatever. But I did hear a little snippet that we are mentioned in it. That somehow
Yes.
that the Buckeye Scoop got a mention from no less of a credible person than my Sharona, Sharon Moore. So Sharon
Yeah.
Moore actually called out Buckeye Scoop in this report. So
Yeah.
I am looking forward to that because I like it when we're the front and center in the Michigan guys' minds. But yes, apparently we did get a shout out from Sharon. So Sharon, if you're listening, thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of the Scoop family, Sharon. We appreciate it.
That is hilarious. Yeah, that's a part of what Spiro hit me up with the other day when he called me, and we just chuckled and laughed about it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the story that will be dropping from the good brother Spiro. So this was posted by a Michigan insider, and I'm just going to read this because this was kind of just surrounding the McGee and all that stuff. Without diving too far into the weeds, there are more than a couple of reasons for McGee no longer being with the program. Some of the dots can be connected to Whittingham wanting a fresh start, and the current chatter suggests that things weren't always harmonious before Whittingham took over the program. We cannot verify whether McGee's departure is due to performance or both sides agreeing to move on and won't speculate. However, multiple sources have used words such as mess and toxic to describe the overall atmosphere inside the building before Whittingham took over, particularly in the recruiting department, which McGee oversaw. Currently, chatter suggests that life in Schembechler Hall is much more structured and accountable. Now, that's propaganda, in my opinion, that last part. But just wanted to read that because, again, Michigan fans seem to constantly be in denial about the corruption of their program and the toxicity. They try to explain all of it away, or they at least haven't admitted it. But there you have it again. So regardless,
The B. Okay, we literally just posted a video of Michigan players hot boxing in the locker room. Okay,
yeah,
so and for people not familiar with that, that is climbing into a locker and smoking pot. So you're like in a sauna and like a hot sauna, so you can
yeah,
accentuate the effects. Doing that in the locker room at Michigan football. So spare me the. It's much more structured and much more
exactly,
thing, and
exactly.
there's that because even if you say, well, that happened before or whatever it is, you know what? Heads should freaking roll, man. We should hear about bodies being hitting the floor and guys being hung at the stake out there at Schembeckler Hall to make an example to other people about that because we just posted that and still nothing's going on. So spare me the Kyle Whittingham is coming in there and holding them more accountable because it's a clown show up there and it continues to be a clown show and I will always feel that way until I see some sort of concrete evidence to the contrary. But as it sits right now, it's just more of the same, and just that's just more nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. That last part was rich. I just smiled at that, like really. But you notice no Michigan officials or sites or anything like that have come out and officially debunked the video, Nevada. None. You've got goofies on some of their insider boards making claims, taking shots and jabs, and I'm playing it down. But nobody has come out and said, "Oh, this video is fake," and they're just ignoring it until it goes away. At this point, right, Nevada? I mean,
Well, yeah, no, yeah, it's not AI. It wasn't something. It's not, but yeah. So they can't. No, and Lord knows they've tried. I mean, Lord knows they've run it through the software, tried to
mhm,
find what was wrong with it, or what was something that could prove once and forever that it didn't happen. Now, much like they were trying to prove that that wasn't Connor Stallions on the sideline at the Western Michigan game. That's not even him. He doesn't have a beard. That's not his face. It's funny when stuff like that happens. But yeah, now they're just into let's just put our head in the sand and do our thing, and then we'll just keep writing about how Whittingham is now the new sheriff in town, and now they're all flying right. No, you've got Bryce Underwood as the leader of your team. You guys completely screwed yourself by latching your star to a guy who's going to just take you down to the bottom of the ocean, man. I'm just telling you, I've seen it before. They made a huge mistake in terms of doing it, and I'm loving every minute watching them. Just it's like a slow motion car wreck.
yeah, yeah. And I'm listen. I just put up their schedule again about it because I'm thinking to myself. Of course, they're delusional. They're always, and I was talking to Intrinsic about this in our group chat and my other homie. And we were talking about how Michigan fans every offseason, like right now, they're going to be great next year, and we're going to lose 4 games. Ohio State is, and they're going to be good, and all this other stuff. And so I'm just with everything you're saying, and we're saying, and the disaster that Underwood has been, and the culture, and this new coaching staff, and I'm just looking at their schedule again. Oklahoma at home, not going to be easy. They got Iowa at home, at Minnesota, Penn State at home, Indiana at home, at Rutgers, Michigan State at home, at Oregon, UCLA, then at Ohio State. So, I mean, with this team, what they lost, um, I, what would you say the minimum? And I might be being generous. A minimum loss count might be 3, and that's generous. I'm seeing 4 losses on here, like strong. What you think?
Oh yeah, I think best case scenario. I think best case would be 9-3 for them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think 8-4 is very realistic. I think 7-5 is not out of the realm of possibility, whatsoever. So and depending on what the win totals are that come out when you can bet that stuff, I'll be betting in accordingly. And I look, I've been betting against Michigan win totals for years. We've talked about this every year for the last
Yeah.
few years, and every year they get overrated on win totals, and every year I bet under, and every year it's another winner because they're not very good, and this is a very tough schedule. I think it's tougher than Ohio State schedule. So, I mean, it's basically the same schedule with the exception of getting Oklahoma at home instead of playing at Texas, but they got to play at Columbus. So
Right.
I think that's a tougher schedule.
Yep. No, that makes sense. The in Columbus game is clearly it takes them over the top. Both teams have a tough schedule, but they got to play us here. And again, they got to play us here in the shoe after getting over the psychological hump up at Ann Arbor for Ryan Day. And so, in dominant fashion, the young guy Julian Sayin went on the road in the snowy snow globe of the Big Blouse and sliced them up, and now he's coming back home to do it in front of his own fans. I'm excited about that game,
I mean,
Nevada.
and B JJ Smith's last game in the horseshoe.
Oh, yes, that I didn't even think about that in that moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just not a good recipe for them. And real quick, I know we got some super chats rolling in, and I got to slide in a little bit, but I want to show this, Nevada, really quickly before we get into it, because Michigan fans have been losing their minds over this right here. So, your guy Josh Pate put his program rankings together and said Ohio State is the number one program in the country right now. He's talking about program, not who won in 2025. Programs. Now, listen, this is a subjective list. It's his opinion. He's just an analyst. It's his opinion. But boy, Nevada, oh, good Lord, they are just completely tweaking over this. And so, because you mentioned it earlier with Klatt and Pate, and Intrinsic posted some comments from Klatt. It was a few years ago, but he was making a general statement about Michigan never being that he said Michigan has never been Ohio State in their entire history. He said, yes, they've had the overall all-time wins because they started playing football before a lot of schools. But the point is, he was saying, he was like, look at how many wins Ohio State wins per year. He said Michigan has won 111 game season before they start cheating. This was back in 2020 versus Ohio State, who won like 12, or it was something crazy. You know the discrepancy. The point is, Michigan has never been Ohio State. They can't get that through their thick heads. And now you got an analyst just simply saying, hey, Ohio State's the best program. He was going back the last 3 years. That was his criteria. And they were just complete. I'm pointing this out because there's just so many levels to their delusion, Nevada, when it comes to who they are and self-awareness of a program on all levels. Go ahead, brother.
Well, I think they're lucky to be 10th in that thing because Tennessee and Texas Tech. I think I would put Tennessee over them for sure, and Texas Tech is certainly knocking at the door. But yeah, so they're generously being listed at 10th there, and yeah, for Michigan fans, 10th is that's not good, buddy. That's 9 spots behind Ohio State, and it's never going to get any better than that.
Yeah, I thought that was very generous of Josh Pate. And listen, he has a huge Michigan following, and how he tends to cater sometimes. But he did lay out his criteria for Ohio State, and I'm telling the Scum fans on my page and on social media, hey, instead of just all the goofy deflections, or you didn't win your conference. Argue his criteria. He laid out his criteria. Argue it and tell us why you're a better program, and tell us why whoever. And they can't do it, and they won't do it. But anyway, I wanted to show that real quick because they've been really spazzing over that in Nevada.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Reality sucks sometimes, man.
Yes, it does. It does on just all levels. And again, there's more coming with this program. It's just. Nevada, months ago when you said slow drip, bro, I didn't know this slow drip was going to be this drippy. I mean, it's still dripping. I mean, it's poured on, it's dripped, it's been crazy. Like it just won't stop. But y'all get mad at us because we're simply reporting and talking about the mess and pointing at the building on fire. It's still on fire. So go ahead, Nevada.
Well, yeah, and that fire is that's the smoke from the guys hot boxing in the locker room. That's what
that's a Mike Green type of comment right there. That's
just
funny.
Stop that first. Just stop. Okay, look. Like I always say, like how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? just stop the guys from smoking dope or cooking meth in the locker room. Let's just do that for one day, and then we'll consider that a win, and we'll move on to the next day.
Oh man, I got to do a Michigan Breaking Bad meme now. You know, messed up. Oh, good lord. All right, here we go. Stilly Matt, thanks for the 199. Coach Dop in West Coast, Nevada Buck. Welcome. Thank you, sir, for the grand entry you always provide. I love the nicknames, Nevada.
Yeah, no. Hey, we're getting out of weather. We're going to be into spring and summer pretty soon. It's just going to be nothing but sunny days. No need for the Doppler after that.
I don't know. I was just looking at my Doppler, and it's going to be 60s this week and rain. And then guess what? On Saturday, 35 and a chance of snow.
Oh my goodness!
I'm
Wow.
very frustrated with that. Very. Now,
Yep.
I don't think it's going to stick, but I'm done with snow, man. Like, we got enough snow in that one hit that we got a couple weeks ago for the entire winter. I'm done. So I will continue to follow the weather patterns and report back accordingly, but that's not a good early look for me, Mr. Doppler Moses. All right, Jay Coburn, thanks for the 9.99. It's only the tip of the iceberg for the team up north. Yeah. It just won't stop. It keeps happening. And so we're going to keep reporting on it. And again, Spiro will be dropping a bomb any day now, literally. So there's that. And then of course there's still an ongoing investigation into their program right now. And one of their own insiders claims that casualties will come. And you got somebody singing like a canary to the investigators. So there's more coming. Because look, Nevada, you would think the Sharon Moore stuff. You know how you're watching a fireworks show, right? You're watching a fireworks show and it builds, pa, 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 and then at the end it's like they just emptied a clip, right? You would think the Sharon Moore stuff was like the grand finale of the fireworks, and then everybody goes home on 4th of July and chill. No, it's still going. It's just like, what? It's crazy, Nevada.
Well, and what I challenge everybody here that's listening to do is imagine if this was Ohio State. Imagine
Right.
if we were just a subject of a 74-page report from the thing outlining a multi-year cheating scandal. Imagine if our coach was involved in extramarital affairs, impregnated his assistant, tried to do a murder suicide. I mean, just go down the list of things. How would you feel? How would that make you feel about it? I mean, man, if we have one little thing, our Ohio State fans are freaking out. This isn't just B Moses and Nevada Buck manufacturing stuff. This is just the continued turmoil that's going on, and it's there. And again, ask yourself, if it was Ohio State, how would you feel? That's why this stuff is important. That's why for me, it's so fun watching this place burn.
Yeah, and look, it just real quickly, especially y'all got to have even more context than that. This is the same program, and Justin Spiro has laid this out perfectly. This is the same sanctimonious high horse program over the years that basically pointed to all of our success as cheating. So Tackgate that happened years and years ago, they point to that and say, "Oh, this everything we've done has been cheating and scandalous." This is the same program that has done that with no evidence, but yet they want to get mad when we keep pointing out just colossal, massive, ridiculous level scandals consistently. And we haven't even talked about Matt Weiss in a while. So you know what I'm saying? It's just like this, nah. So we're gonna keep it moving. News keeps breaking, dumb stuff keeps happening, and we're gonna keep talking about it. Stilly Matt, thanks for the 199. Michigan, the dumpster fire that never ends. Correct. You pretty much just summarized what we just said. It just won't end. What we got next? Geo, thanks for the 5. Kyle Whittingham going from QB Cam Rising at Utah, a natural leader, to clown show Bryce Underwood. Has to be a huge letdown for him. Laugh out loud, shaking my head. I put that abbreviated comment on the screen. I'm about to say yesterday, earlier, because it was bars. I mean, I laughed at that because it's true. Like, talk about a stark difference, Nevada, going from Cam Rising to Bryce Underwood.
Cam Rising was a dog, man. That guy was a great
Tough kid.
college football player, tough kid, and born later. Yeah, I agree. The differences could not be more stark. And yeah, that's got to be a punch in the gut for Whittingham to go from Rising to Underwood, the two completely different players. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying the culture shock coming from Utah to this program now, and all the, as their own insiders said, as I read earlier, toxicity is just, it's going to be interesting to see how he navigates those waters for sure. Chorus, what up? Thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member. Massively bad program equals cheat again. OH Nevada,
I oh
yes, they are massively bad, and they just I don't know. I can't come up with enough adjectives to describe them, but it keeps rolling on. Jay Coburn, thank you for becoming a Scoop Ultra member. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you for being around as long as you have. And then Sean the Hammer, also a great Scoop Ultra member for 26 months. That's a long time, brother. Anything on these two Ultra members, Nevada?
we just appreciate you guys so much, man. We love everybody, but we love our regulars, and we just appreciate you guys being here. And man, 26. We've been doing a lot of shows. That's like almost coming up on like almost 1,000 shows, and
Yeah.
you guys have been here for almost every one of them. We just appreciate you guys so much.
Absolutely. All right. And the last super chat, Stilly Matt, thanks for the 199. Shout out to BJ and the Cheez Its. Go. It's fist. Yes. So BJ will be back this week, barring his assignments are all turned in on time and he's doing what he's supposed to do. He will be back. And so had him out there shooting and practicing earlier this week. So looking forward to that. Got a couple games left in the season. And then coming up after that for Coach Moses and BJ will be flag football. We are defending our ring. We just won a championship at the shoe. Last, what was it? May. And so we are back again this year, Nevada. And I still want to pick your brain about some flag football plays when we get the time, brother.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm tanned, rested, ready to run, and ready to help you out. Offense, defense, or even some special teams, little things for you. Ready
Yeah,
to go.
everything. I will take everything that has worked for you and utilize it and get them boys going. So, but yeah, listen. Remember, Dev is going up next. Make sure you hop on with Dev. You know he's going to have a great show. He does an excellent job every time. And I appreciate y'all, Buckeye Scoop family, Buckeye Nation. And I'm going to get going. Love y'all. Until next time, go Bucks. Peace.